who gave that information, which Dr. Schenkel said that the information came from Chairman Zyrak, and that it was directly from Stephen Agrafiotis. And everyone is absolutely correct. Stephen Agrafiotis he is the only person who has that right to release that information. The question is that if the information is not attributed directly to him, and it's not documented as such, then the historical record says that the information was leaked by our town administrator. So my intent was just to say, if we could memorialize where that information came from and the context under which it came, so we could put it away in a file. Now, I understand people say, well, it's not really necessary, because if that ever came down to it, they just have an investigation. Well, an investigation costs money. Depositions cost money. And 2 years from now, or a year from now, I don't want to have someone say to me, it was a misinterpretation. The next thing is that the concept of speaking it into the minutes, to me, is once again a situation in which, as we've all said, the minutes are not going to encapsulate the salient details of the conversation and encapsulate it in such that, without a doubt, we understand that the information was directly from Stephen Agrafiotis. So that's all I wish to do. I requested that of the chair. I didn't see any reason to bring it up in public, but I was asked to. Because actually I don't see any problem with Chairman Zyrak going to the town administrator to ask, under those circumstances, to ask to place the information into an email in a proxy action. I don't believe it's best practice, but I didn't really have a problem with that. The issue I had was that we understand where the information came from, so that we understand that it was the person who had that right to release it who released it.
Mr. Sullivan.
The only way to do that is to ask the person who gave you that information, which would be the chief, who's not, we don't know what he's doing because we don't officially know, but that's another story, is to have him send you a letter saying, I gave Bill Schenkel Bill Schenkel.
Both got gray hair.
I provided Chairman Zyrak with this information, and that would be it, because that's the only way to truly memorialize it, is to come from the horse's mouth.
And then
if we get it, you can memorialize it, but it's still not restating what you already stated. But I think the best way to solve that is to contact the person who provided the information that you quoted and ask, can you send me a letter stating that I on a conversation held on this day, so I provided Chairman Zyrak with that information. Is that possible?
I think it would.
I think that would be the easiest way, because we're getting it directly from the person who released it, not to stop your word, but.
No. I'd be glad to request.
I think that would solve the problem.
That would solve the problem, absolutely.
all right.
So,
Is there a motion on the table? Has it been seconded?
No.
The motion hasn't been seconded.
No, you just said it was a
If the motion hasn't been seconded, then I make a motion to adjourn and go home. I don't want to sit here and listen to this.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Everyone should speak. If there is a counselor that has something to say, it should be seconded, so it's now on the floor.
All right, you want to make a motion, Mr. Sullivan?
No, we got a motion. Can I still have the floor? Then?
I will gladly, because, can I speak to this, Chair?
Sure.
Once again, I'm going to just say this straight out, because I say this is an example right here of the issue of the sensitivity of things in regards to evaluating ourselves individually in regards to what's going on. If I can't bring something forward that I feel personally, that I feel must be done. If I just look at what it says in the charter, I have a duty in order to reflect reality. I have a duty of fiduciary responsibility. I have diligently gone back and looked at our legal cases and tried to understand where we went wrong. In those things there's a pattern here. And I think that pattern is the fact that too often we listen to someone who says, you really don't need to do it, don't worry about it. If illegal action comes up, we'll handle it then. And at that point, it's a $10,000 handling situation. I'm saying right now, let's just get the documents in place, it's fresh.
Let me respond. Let me respond.
Let me just do a second. I'll remove my motion and allow Councilman Sullivan to make his motion, because I believe his motion is better than my motion in terms of getting it from the horse's mouth. So,
There was building a motion once we
well, I think he was saying about, right.
He's just
Yeah, it's a suggestion. I would like to have him formulate it to a motion. So I remove my motion.
I think if
I guess my concern, let me speak as chairman, my concern is that Mr. Lazat now is put into the minutes some serious concerns and questions, and I think they have to be addressed at this point in time. Saying that we're going to call the chief is fine, but quite frankly, I want to put this in context. This is an issue that belongs with the police commission, and unfortunately, it keeps coming back to this council that we can do very little about. This was a headache that the past chairman had. It's an ongoing headache. I want it to stop. So let me respond. It's time for this to stop. This is nonsense. In response to your email, Mr. Lazat, dated October 13th, Chief Stephen Agravetis was an individual who disclosed to me via phone that he was placed on administrative leave pending a possible investigation and outcome of the police department audit. I shared this information with Dr. Shanko, who requested I draft a memo to members of the town council as he was out of the office that morning. You were in the office, coincidentally. I dictated to Evelyn Horn the email that you and other members of the town council received. As chair of the town council, I felt a responsibility to share the information provided to me by Chief Agravetis regarding his employment status with the town administrator and members of the town council. Later in the day, I was contacted by the union leader and shared the same information. In the absence of a response from the police commission, I fulfilled my leadership responsibility as chair of the town council to share the status of the police chief with members of the town council, our town administrator, and to the citizens of Hooksett by responding to media questions. I did not feel it was appropriate to share my source of information with Mr. Pearl. I did not violate any requirements of 91A. That's the end of my statement.
And I'll back that.
I totally agree with you, Mr. Sivak.
And Chair, can I speak to that comment?
One last time.
First off, I never said you violated 91A. What I stated was that in your desire in which to get the information out to town councilors, which I respect, I engaged you in the conversation of where the information came because I had concern. Because Evelyn, when she was taking the dictation, set it into the phone, so I knew what it was. And sorry, sir. I understood the context of it. And at that moment in time, I had asked who it was from, because I wanted to make sure that it was reflected in the email. And when I read the email, I became concerned because the email and the information within the email wasn't attributed to either you or Stephen Agrafiotis. And my concern from that point was the historical record said that Dean had this. All I was interested in was correcting the historical record. As far as the aspects of the police commission, I could care less. Because the fact of the matter is that we had a certain amount of information, but the other portion of this is the information that you sent us said confidential. And it wasn't anything that we could use. We could understand it, but theoretically we couldn't use it and to put it out forward. So I just wanted to, and once again, I just wanted to make sure the historical record was clear, that the information didn't come from Dr. Shankel, that it came from the chief directly through you. That's all I was asking to have in the record.
One moment. Let me respond, please, and then I think hopefully we can move to adjourn. We've been talking about communications in trust and respect. This has been very difficult for me. I was placed in a very difficult position. I felt compelled as a leader, as a town council, to share that information. If it happened again, I would do exactly what I did before. I did not disclose it came from the chief, because again, out of respect and confidentiality, I did not want to place him in further harm's way. So I denied that I got it from the chief initially. Perhaps I shouldn't have done that. But if I had to do it all over again out of respect to him and his situation, I would do that. But at the same time, I was held to a higher order of communicating with the citizens of Hooksett. It was not appropriate for the police commission to not say anything, and for people to go to the police office, for television cameras to come to the town council or the town hall and place the administrator and Evelyn Horn at a tremendous disadvantage. That was not right, and I felt compelled to correct it. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I have one question. From my understanding, your concern is that there is some documentation that the information did come from the chief.
Correct.
Got it.
He's just read a statement into the minutes that is now documentation. Do you believe that that will satisfy your desire to have something in writing so that there is historical evidence if anything comes up in the future?
Yes, as long as he submits so that it's captured by the minutes correctly, so it's not edited. As long as he could provide that,
it's not going to be edited. It's going to be as stated.
We don't have verbatim minutes. That's what I'm just saying.
Did you put? Well, do you have it written?
Can I ask you a question?
I'll be glad to give it.
If I could, for the minutes, I want everything that was heard after we came out of non-public verbatim.
Okay. I would agree to that.
That's an appropriate motion.
Right.
This is the email from Todd Lazat requesting the information requesting that I share it only with the chairman or the vice chairman and the secretary. I thought it was more appropriate to share it with the entire town council and the community.
Yeah. Then I would say that.
Wait a minute. Sorry, Chair. You're editorializing. I sent you an email to say to draft the document for the historical record.
And I did.
I did not say that it was for only certain eyes. It would be part of the public record.
I'd like to step in here because I really feel that we're getting into just a tit for the tat, and I do not believe that's doing any of us good at 11:15 at night. And that is where we are, is at a tit for tat.
Well,
we all were able to read the emails because we've been copied on every one of them.
Right.
You have now had your chance to speak. I believe we should hear from Vinny. We should see if anyone else on the council has anything to say. And then, if appropriate, and you'd like to bring this up at another meeting, we can certainly continue it. But this is just turning into...
I agree. I just want to say that with the draft, or even the policy that Mr. Shanko gave us on media relations tonight, will solve this whole problem. Everything's going to go through Mr. Shanko to be released to the press, and this doesn't have to go any further. I mean, this is getting crazy. It's taken more time out of this council when we could be doing things that we should. Make a motion to adjourn.
Excuse me. I raised my hand before you said. There's a fine line and balance between tit for tat and what's been said. If you dig to the root of what's being said, it's to save us 2 years from now in litigation. It's really not a personal attack or anything like that, period. End of story. That's how I look at this.
I disagree with that.
I do too.
I honestly
motion
feel...
to adjourn.
Yeah, second.
And I second it.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign.
We never talked about now. I'm satisfied.